many of you want to win the lottery and have that really big win? Right? That would be nice, right? So, who's heard of butt disease? Butt disease. When I was 5 years old going to kindergarten, my parents sat me down before I went to school and said, "You need to be careful not to get butt disease." Now, I went to a little private school in a church basement, and they had one washroom. And what butt disease is that's what my parents said I would get if I didn't put toilet paper down on the seat. So, I was 5 years old, and I would listen to my parents. So one day, it was lunch hour, all the kids went out for recess, and I had to go to the washroom. And I went into the toilet, and into the stall, the one stall, and there was no toilet paper. So I kind of thought, okay, I'll just wait till I go home, because butt disease. So I was a little panicked. I thought I'd just go into my classroom. No one was there. I came in, I looked up at the clock, it said 10 after 12, and then I shit my pants. So the teacher came in, got me cleaned up. That was cool. No one really found out about it, other than she called my parents, and the next 3 months I was in the hospital getting suppositories, being poked and prodded at. And I just couldn't tell them it's just because butt disease. I didn't want to get butt disease. So what's kind of awesome about that is that none of my classmates or my peers ever found out that I crapped my pants in kindergarten. There was a kid in the grade above me. He used to like soil himself every other day, and I think it was because he ate pencils. He's actually a really good friend of mine. Jacob, say hello. He was made fun of up until about grade 11. And that never happened to me. It would have. And that's a little bit of a small win, I think. So, flash forward a few years, and I was at an OHL game for the Guelph Storm, and I was sitting with a friend, and this is back 25 years ago where regulations were a little bit looser, and there was a pretty low part of the glass in the corner where I was sitting, and I turned to my friend, and all of a sudden I felt this excruciating pain off the corner of my head, and I looked and I saw a puck just going way down 30 feet. I got cracked in the head on a direct shot on the net, had gone off the stick funny, and it hit me in the head. And I was really disappointed that I didn't get the puck. Had I been facing straight or looking at the game, I would have had about a 1 second chance to react, and I probably would have a huge scar on my face or have lost my sight. That's a little bit of a small win. Fast forward a lot. 2001, I was in college for broadcasting, and I had worked previously in Africa recording sound, and I was kind of born with a video camera in my hand, and I have a whole media thing that I do. But I was in school for broadcasting, and I'd happened to get a job at CTV in Kitchener doing scoreboards. And after my first year in college, I got a call in May from an instructor friend of mine that said, "My buddy's been called to be a cameraman on Survivor. He needs a camera assistant. He wants me to do it, but I can't because I'm getting married. I heard you used to work in Africa and you got all your shots. Can you go? It's in Thailand next week." So, 2002... Oh, it also happened to be my favorite show. There's a photographer. Yes. So I always wanted to be on Survivor as a contestant, but up until, I guess, last month, they wouldn't let Canadians apply. But I got to work on Survivor. Now, I can't tell you a lot about it because I had to sign a contract about this thick. It is real. If you want to talk to me afterwards, I can give you a few spoilers. But you know what? I got paid $6,000 to work for 6 weeks in Thailand in the 40-degree heat at midnight. I almost died, and I worked on the crew. Imagine how hard it is for the contestants. Okay, that's a medium-sized win. It's still a small win, but I learned more over that summer than I did probably the rest of my next couple years in television, and it kind of made me hungry to kind of force myself to do more and break out. When I came back from Survivor, there's like this whole like online dating thing that was starting. Now, this is before it became popular or safe. So I'd kind of taken a free 5 days on this site, and I started chatting with this woman, and she said, you know, I live in a basement, I do websites. Okay, this sounds shady already, doesn't it? And my son is so cute, he plays the guitar and he plays the drums. And she was really nice, and I just thought, you know, I'm 20 years old, and I just don't want a relationship where there's a kid involved yet. That's okay, right? That's okay. And so I said no. We had a coffee and it was nice, and that was kind of a deal breaker for me at the time. She called me up 6 months later and said, I know you do video and stuff, and my son is so great. Like everyone's son or daughter is great when they sing or drum or guitar or are annoying. Could you film him? Could you make a little video for us? And what I try to do every year is I try to do a little bit of a give back. I do, like, you know, if a friend wants a little commercial, I don't do weddings. I try to give back one little give back a year, and I had just done it. And I was setting boundaries for myself. So I said, you know, I can't do it. I just did one. I would love to help you. I can't do it. And she said, okay, that's fine. A couple months later, Usher got a hold of her kid, and now he's Justin Bieber. No, it's a win. Because in the alternate universe, I'm Justin Bieber's stepdad. I slit my wrists in a bathtub in the Hollywood Hills 10 years ago, and so I'm still alive, and I'm not Bieber's stepdad, so that's a win. That's a win. Right? Big win. Small win. 6 years ago, found myself in a bit of a photo op. Toxic relationship, toxic business relationship, that is. And I was not in a good place. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. I felt like I was working 70 hours a week and not getting where I wanted to. And I was kind of looking for a big, quick win. And a little bit of a business opportunity came my way, and I didn't vet it. And I just kind of pounced on it, and I lost $15,000 almost overnight. And that was pretty catastrophic. Where I was just in my life at that point, that was just fuel in the fire. But a couple days later after that happened, obviously it got me and my wife talking, and some things kind of came out in our relationship that kind of needed to be fixed. And it kind of led to this whole kind of healing process with us. Later on, it led to me starting my own business. But the really neat thing that happened was, over the 6 months, we got kind of things back on track. Or 6 months later, I'll remember, it was March 28th. The Leafs were going to play on a Saturday night, and my wife said, I want M&Ms. And I had just sat down, 7:05, and I said, oh. She said, can you go to the corner store and get me some M&Ms? And I said, all right. And so I walked out, went down to the corner store, bought the M&Ms, dumped a whole bunch of change out on the counter. And the guy kind of took the amount of change, and there was some left over. And I didn't really feel like picking it back up. So I said, give me one of those poker lotto thingies, because it said it was $150,000. And he rang it up, and it went boom, 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 ding, straight flush, 10% of the jackpot, $15,000. The exact amount to the penny that I had lost. I was completely restored financially for that mistake. Not a penny more, not a penny less, but within that 6 months, I had had complete restoration in my life, and in my married life, and in my business life. So, my point tonight is, we're all chasing that big win, right? What if we won $50 million or whatever? But what I've found is that if you add up all those small wins in your life and put them all together, that's a big win. Thanks.